Welcome back to What Is, the channel dedicated to tackling the universe's biggest concepts, usually with too much caffeine and not enough sleep. Today, we dive into a concept so profound, so staggeringly important, that without it, biology is just a confusing list of animals. What is evolution? For a topic that dominates half of all high school science debates, the definition is surprisingly straightforward. Evolution is simply the process by which populations of living organisms change over successive generations. That's it, change over time. But since change over time also describes my increasingly confusing taste in music, we need to be more scientifically specific. When biologists talk about evolution, they mean descent with modification. Think of it this way: every time DNA is copied, little mistakes happen. If you take a high-quality photograph and photocopy it 1 billion times, the billionth copy will look substantially different from the first. Those tiny copying errors, those modifications, compound over generations. And here is the most crucial takeaway, the one that prevents 90% of all evolutionary arguments: individuals do not evolve. You, watching this, will not spontaneously sprout gills if you spend too much time in the bathtub. Evolution acts on populations. Evolution is the process, but natural selection is the mechanism. It's the engine that drives the whole chaotic, beautiful mess. Natural selection has 3 core requirements, almost like an ancient evolutionary survival checklist. First, variation. Everyone in a population must be a little bit different. If you have a colony of ants, some are slightly faster, some are slightly better at storing fat, and some, perhaps, just prefer tiny hats. This variation happens randomly. Second, inheritance. Whatever those traits are, good or bad, they must be inheritable. The offspring must generally resemble the parents. Tiny hat preferences must be coded in the DNA. And third, the big one: selection. Resources are limited. Not everyone can survive and reproduce. There is competition, whether for food, shelter, or just the best parking spot on the savannah. Those individuals whose random traits make them slightly better at navigating their environment, those are the ones who survive long enough to pass on their genes. The environment acts like a filter. It doesn't care about perfection. It only cares about good enough for right now. If a sudden asteroid impact changes the climate, the traits that were once helpful, like being huge and intimidating, might suddenly be a terrible liability. The selection pressure changes, and the population shifts. Over millions upon millions of years, those tiny, generational shifts accumulate until, suddenly, a common ancestor that looked like a shrimp is now, somehow, operating a shrimp fishing boat. The evidence for this process isn't just compelling, it's frankly overwhelming. We see it in the fossil record, which provides a timeline tracing creatures through deep time. We see it in biogeography, explaining why island species are so weirdly specific. But the most elegant evidence is inside you right now: DNA. Imagine a 500-year-old book that has been translated into 100 different languages. While the surface languages look different, English, Spanish, Mandarin, the core structure, the underlying plot, is still identical. That's your DNA. We share almost all our core genetic instructions with every other living thing on Earth. You are genetically 98% similar to a chimpanzee, about 90% similar to a house cat, and you share roughly 50% of your operational DNA with a banana. Yes, you are half banana. You're welcome. The incredible scale of time involved is often where our brains short-circuit. Human history, as we traditionally understand it, from the invention of writing to the current moment, is a sliver of dust on the evolutionary timeline. Life has been going at this for about 3.7 billion years. If you condense that entire cosmic history into one single year, the first proper humans would show up around 11:58 p.m. on December 31st. Everything you've ever learned in history class happened in the final 60 seconds. It's a truly humbling and, frankly, hilarious realization. Now, let's quickly debunk the two most common evolutionary myths. Myth 1. Evolution is a ladder, and we are at the top. Wrong. Evolution is a bushy, messy, endlessly branching tree. It doesn't aim for complexity or intelligence. It only aims for fitness within a specific environment. If being slightly dumber helps you survive, evolution will absolutely make you dumber. Myth 2, the big one. The hunt for the missing link. There is no single missing link. Every single creature that has ever lived is a transitional form, a work-in-progress link between an ancestor and a descendant. The only difference between you and a fossilized fish is that the fish stopped moving. Evolution is not a climb towards perfection. It is a journey of endless modification, driven only by the random chance of mutation and the relentless pressure of selection. It ties us, genetically and fundamentally, to every single microbe, fungus, and floppy-eared dog that has ever existed. We are all cousins, riding this giant, wet rock through space, having been modified by billions of years of cosmic trial and error. And that, in essence, is evolution. Thank you for tuning in to What Is. If you enjoyed tackling this massive topic, please hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives. Let us know in the comments, what concept should we break down next?